And
We have a former state rep, Attica Scott.
yes, and former Metro Council person.
Yes.
So just to start off, we're talking about the reappointment of Ed Harness. The Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression calls on Mayor Greenberg and the members of the Louisville Metro Council to reappoint Ed Harness as the head of the Louisville Office of Inspector General. The OIG was established in 2020 following the death of Breonna Taylor, which was caused by the Louisville Metro Police Department. Since that time, a community-based movement has continuing organizing to reform Louisville Metro Police Department, uh, and, and was all this organizing that led up to the consent decree and various other improvements that were voted on by the Metro Council. Now, reflecting that goal, Mr. Harness has brought extensive experience and integrity to his role, earning the trust of the community. He has been fair and unbiased. Should someone else be appointed to that position, uh, that person would have to start all over again, which which is a very slow process, right? In a statement made by the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, NACOLE, Harness has exemplified all that is good and needed in police oversight. He has fully embraced the values of the code and has encouraged and expected both staff and civilian review and accountability board members to adhere to these same ideals. All individuals engaged with Harness and his office are treated with dignity, respect, and compassion, and this includes citizens, police, and employees. Without question, Mr. Harness has demonstrated exemplary qualifications for his role, and he should be reappointed without hesitation. So, former Rep. Scott, would you want to express an opinion?
Absolutely. So, one of the reasons I'm here today is because Louisville deserves justice in all of its forms, whether it's housing justice, environmental justice, racial justice, maternal health justice, whatever the justice is, we deserve it in all of its forms. And one of the things that I can say about our Office of Inspector General and its director, Mr. Ed Harness, is that he has worked toward another form of justice, which is around police accountability. And he has done so not because he's trying to curry favor with police or with the mayor's administration. He's done so because he's doing what is just and right for the people of Louisville. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today is to speak up and say that I absolutely support keeping Mr. Ed Harness in this position. He has opened himself up and been vulnerable to us as a community. Whenever we've asked him to show up somewhere, he has shown up without hesitation and without question. That is the true sign of a leader, someone who does not avoid, but instead goes directly to the people. So I'm hopeful that people will pay attention when the mayor gives his budget address to Metro Council and will read the budget, whether it's 200 pages or 20 pages, read the budget to see if there's a true commitment to keeping the Office of Inspector General and if there's a commitment to keeping Mr. Ed Harness. If you don't see that there, you need to reach out to your Louisville Metro Council member and to Mayor Craig Greenberg and say very clearly that you support the Office of Inspector General and you support Mr. Ed Harness maintaining his position. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Uh, so you're with WLKY.
Yes.
Now, Attica, I know you have to leave, but do you have time to give them a little bit, more because they didn't? I'm going to read my statement again for WLKY if you all don't
But
mind.
we have the live go back to
Right, because I
because
want.
it'll be on his Facebook page. It'll be available.
All right, okay. Well, uh, Council Person Shamika Parrish Wright, would you like to express on this topic?
Thank you, KA, and thank you, amazing Attica Scott, for your comments. I am in agreement with keeping Inspector General Harness for many reasons. I come to this table wearing many hats. All my hats say that he is the most informed, the most ready, the most person that can give us the justice that we've been asking for a very long time. I am on the advisory board of the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. I also am a Louisville Metro Councilwoman and a director of Vocal Kentucky, but I'm a mother and I'm a person who was wrongfully arrested in 2020 along with Representative Scott and so many other people. So I've seen the good, bad, and ugly side of our Louisville Metro Police Department. And when I look at this, I'm looking at justice comes in many forms. Inspector General Harness has the most unbiased approach to this. The only person that is a part of Louisville Metro government who actually has the experience of working on a consent decree, who is a former police officer, so he checks all of the boxes. But what he hasn't heard is that he's up for renewal in November. And I know it's such a beautiful day outside today. It's Sunday. It's beautiful. Our city is dealing with the flood repair. None of that takes away from what is happening now. But if we don't get in front of this, in front of the mayor's budget, in front of the impending consent decree, we don't want this lost. There is money in our budget for the inspector general's position, just as well as there's money already allotted in our budget for a monitor. So we are as advocacy groups, as organizations, as Louisvillians, want to make sure that Inspector General's position does not get lost in everything that's going on. This is something that was actually one of the demands that the family of Breonna Taylor, that the community, the people fighting in the Justice for Breonna Taylor movement asked for. And people on all sides of this wanted an inspector general. So now that we have that, it is not time to back out of this. We do a good job at starting programs, starting projects, doing pilot things, and then we don't follow through in time. And so my role on Metro Council is to continue to advocate and do everything I can for my district as well as the city of Louisville and making sure we have the representation we deserve. The funding goes where it's needed most. And that we make sure that people who are in positions like Inspector General Harness get the support that they need. Yes, there has been back and forth in the media between the Inspector General and Chief Humphreys, but that's okay. Anybody doing their job is going to run up against some obstacles and barriers, but that is no reason to eliminate him from his position. And quite frankly, who else would step in with this kind of knowledge of direct working and within to try to repair this policing issue that we have from the inside out? That is the best person that is ready to do that. I am not deterred from the back and forth. I am encouraged that we can come together to get the justice, the resolve that we all want. So I'm honored to be here with this team here, trying to advocate, and we just don't want it to get lost. Yes, we're gonna get our city together. We're gonna have an amazing derby, but justice comes in many forms. We still need justice. We still need the consent decree, and I'm still advocating for a people's consent decree to acknowledge the harms that have happened, so that we can move forward together. The best the best apology is not just in the media, it's not just in paper, it's change behavior. Let's show that by keeping Inspector General and by continuing to work to make sure we have the best independent monitor and we're following the recommendations, the guidelines, not only from the DOJ, but from the community as outlined in the People's Consent Decree. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have any questions on this topic? Questions on this topic?
When is his last day?
I don't know the exact day, but in November is when his contract is up.
All right.
As well as, I'm sorry,
Go
as
ahead.
well as four of our civilian review board positions as well. So as I know that there's work happening to make sure that those positions are filled with qualified candidates. With this, usually, and I've done a lot of contract work, many of us here, you get to know, hey, is my contract going to be approved? And as the months count down, we want to know that this is something that we can count on. So that's why we're asking for a commitment from our mayor and the administration to say, hey, the mayor gets to make that decision if he keeps his seat. So I want to make sure that the mayor is committed to doing that and not shaking it up at that level. Because if he's able to keep his seat and whatever happens with the consent decree as it sits on Judge Beacon's on desk, we still need this part of this process because it's active, it's already working. It took him over a year to get all the information that he needs. And so to stop that abruptly and not continue the process, to me, would stop the transformation that we've been promised.
Mayor Greenberg has stated in press conferences that he's going to move forward with a consent decree. Is he referring to the one that was written out, the 240 plus page, or is he referring to a different version? Should the concurrent consent decree in question not get signed?
We hope it's the one that he signed and agreed to support wholeheartedly. And there's a lot of things that they can do. And so, yes, I hope it's the one he agreed to. I think we're going to still have to watch and see how this plays out. I've seen the mayor, wanting to, rightfully so, wanting to take credit for what they're already doing, but there's still a lot of gaps. There's a bunch of things even the inspector general hasn't even been able to work on. There's things that he hasn't even been able to address. So we are nowhere near halfway done with this process. And I worry when we try to rush it and look for the end. I think the community of Louisville, the people of Louisville, and the police of Louisville deserve this to give its due diligence, the time, and the patience, and the resources it takes, as former Representative Scott has outlined. The budget part of that is important too, because we know that this will be used to say, hey, we're going to give the police more money, but we need to be very active on how that money is being dispersed and making sure it's going to the things that the community said it needs.
For anyone listening out there who wants to take a stand as a citizen and encourage Mayor Greenberg to choose that harness, what would you say to them?
I would say everyone, and especially those of you who are in the business community, who are in the faith community, to call and reach out to your council people as well as Mayor Greenberg's office and ask them to make a decision. Let us know. He hosts those weekly press conferences. Let us know in one of those weekly press conferences what is his intentions. That what he's doing with Inspector General is separate from the DOJ and the consent decree. So he can stall on that in another way, but for this is something he can make a sure decision on. None of us work with Inspector General daily. None of us have any financial or personal ties. We're going off of what we've been shown so far. And so we get the information from the media just like everyone else. So we need everyone to let the mayor know this is working. Like, support that. Let us know that you're going to support his position in November so that we can start focusing on the pieces of the consent decree that matter to the community.
And if I could add to that, 2026 is an election year, mayoral election year. We need to go into 2026 with certainty, not knowing whether or not we're going to have Mr. Ed Harness as the Inspector General creates uncertainty that we don't need in an already uncertain political climate.
That's right.
All right, well, if there are no questions on that topic, we'll go to our second topic.
Horace, pull up a chair. We're just getting started on.
You want to sit right
You want to?
here? Yeah, sit right here.
Or I think
Hey, I know you're watching the live stream right now, but I want to take a moment to tell you to check out this new book right here over my shoulder. Believe me, it'll be worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative
I
Adams.
think I can say for
Okay. Our second topic is on the issue of deportation that our federal government is engaged in, and board member Greg Titchener will speak on that subject on behalf of the Alliance.
So the Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression strongly condemns the actions being taken by our federal government in the form of mass immigrant deportation. This program has at its core dehumanization. It is designed to invoke fear within the immigrant population. Our fellow Americans don't deserve this treatment, and neither do those immigrants and refugees here in the United States seeking the best lives for themselves and their family. The mass deportation program is inherently racist and oppressive by design. Outside of the underserved Native American population, the citizens of the United States are all descendants of immigrant families or descendants of American slaves. How, if we claim to recognize the dignity of all human life, can we deny any global citizen their humanity? Yet this is what we see unfolding right in front of our eyes. People are being separated from their families, citizens are being taken into custody with no due process, simply for the color of their skin. This is a sad and shameful day in America. The Kentucky Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression refuses to be complicit in this debacle. We demand those of good faith reject this chicanery and call on our elected officials to put an immediate end to this mass deportation policy.
And I am also a member, and we're going to speak, of Jefferson County Teachers Association. I'm an executive officer, the secretary, Tyra Thomas Walker. And from an educational point of view, and learning and hearing of our students being fearful to come to school, afraid when they're at school, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what's going to happen to their families when they are at school is really sad. Our kids should be feel safe at school, should feel that their family is safe, so that they can be in an environment to learn and ready to learn. But if they're always on the defense, trying to, worrying about themselves and their family, it does not create a conducive learning environment. And
My name is Harsh Upadhyay. I'm here to speak as an individual, and I would like to, the nuance point I would like to add to the student colleagues that have already spoken here would be the fact that no matter how unhumane this deportation feels, I feel like the federal government would treat every single person within this country with the same due process that it feels like it deserves as an administration, regardless of whatever policy or the way they thought their judicial system had treated them in the past. They deserve the right to treat every American, regardless of their immigration status, to have the right for the due process that every single person in this country deserves. That is the least of what we could do as a federal administration, and I hope the federal government would indeed stand for that.
So do you all have any questions on that topic?
I will add that many of us here have been working on immigrant justice in many different forms and ways,
right.
immigrant worker justice, etc. I know Councilwoman Parrish Wright and I have certainly been on those front lines, and I find it um, reprehensible that our country has chosen to snatch people, kidnap people, disappear people. Literally, the Department of Justice not telling a federal judge where Mr. Garcia is. We don't even know if he's alive. And right here in Kentucky, we have people, students in Lexington and Louisville who have been snatched. In Eastern Kentucky, our siblings are raising money because a father has been taken from his family. He's an immigrant. His family depended on him. He was the financial person in the family. And now our siblings in Eastern Kentucky are doing mutual aid and raising money so those children can be taken care of. This is where we find ourselves when we treat people as less than human. We should be treating people as neighbors. This is Sunday. Many of the same people who support these policies were in church today praising and worshiping. And I think about the book of Lamentations. I'm lamenting right now, thinking about what would happen if I was snatched up and my children didn't know where I was. Or when my children were little, they had to sleep in sleeping bags made of foil and live in cages. That should not be who we are as a country. It should not be who we are as a commonwealth, and it certainly should not be who we are as a city.
And I'll just add that we've pushed to make sure that our Louisville Metro Police Department, this isn't their job to do, that they're not working for ICE. And so there are all kinds of networks that are training people to know that we've worked with people from Congressman McGarvey's office to local faith leaders who are working together to say, this is terrifying. This is not what our tax dollars should be spent on. But there's something we can do I'm really praising the local electeds in other places who have stood up and said, no, not on my watch. There's a lot of things we could do locally to take care of the people we can. So we really got to push on our electeds and those who are in who can make leadership decisions to make sure they're doing their part. And when people speak up and stand together, it's harder for them to come in and do our communities the way they are. But when people are scared and they don't know their rights, a lot of bad things are happening. This is terrifying. I'm trying to keep up with it as much as I can, and I'm also willing to be an advocate and do everything I can in the ability I have as a councilwoman in any other position. We must continue to work together. We must push on creating what we can with the local decision making that we have, and then make sure that we're connecting. I can imagine how those families feel. My kids come home and tell me stories of their friends and the things they're thinking about. This is terrible. Everything you're saying, it just it moves me because most of us want to do something positive about this, and to see that people at the federal level, you're right, are going to church and doing everything against faith and humanity and human rights, it's terrible. So I'm here to do everything that I can, and I really appreciate you all showing up and speaking out. We need more to do the same. Please keep showing up, speaking out, and connecting these issues, because if they come for one of us, they come for all of us. None of us are safe under these conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. So, do you have any questions on that topic? Or for
You
no?
said that you're just an individual.
I am an educator. I am on the JCPA board. The views I was expressing is as an individual.
Okay. Okay.
And I guess I should say, well, I really just spoke about how our kids and learning, so that would definitely come from the Teachers Association as well as how I feel and learning. Like I said, I still have one at school, one that attends school right now, and she comes back and tells me stories about her friends and how they are fearful of being taken from school, families being taken while they're at home. And school is supposed to be a safe place.
That's right.
What is it? We should have church. Being a Christian, we're supposed to love one another. And just seeing the things that I see on television now, I will be speaking as an individual, but seeing the things that I see on television now, they're sending the prisoners over to El Salvador, and I'm not going to say prisoners. I'm saying the immigrants over to El Salvador, and the way they're being treated when they're coming off the plane. Is that what we are now as a country? Like we don't have a heart. We shouldn't be empathetic. We shouldn't empathize. But these are the things that we're teaching our students at school and at elementary, how to be empathetic.
Yeah. That's why I guess administration that started with child separation is not snatching people off the streets is not necessarily surprising. From my point of view as an immigrant myself, it is not something I'm surprised by. What surprised me is the so-called administration that likes to value the constitutional process, the due process that every person in this country should go by, is violating its not only the constitutional process but the same process that it falsely accused the previous administration of violating, which on a federal level is a hypocrisy that I don't think it is on a cognitive level able to understand its own dissonance, which is translating down in such a way that is unfortunate. And as a brand new naturalized American citizen, I feel like it is disappointing on my end because I am a citizen that had to give up my own national citizenship to be an American citizen, and it makes me kind of very much wonder if I picked the right team.
Mm.
Do you mind saying where you immigrated from?
India.
India.
Yes.
Why did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States right out of high school to pursue further education. A byproduct of a failed attended engineering degree led me to the field of education through also program, which is how I ended up in JCPS starting in 2012. So I have a very objective viewpoint in American public schools. My first day in American public schools was at what at the time was unfortunately called a low performing high school in JCPS. So it's a very objective viewpoint at the core of what America is, just through its educational lens point of view. Um, it's we're in year 13, 14, so
Have you felt comfortable, safe here up until this point, or what are your thoughts on that?
I come from a world's biggest democracy, as opposed to world's oldest democracy, so I've never really had any political. Unfortunately, there's its own political turmoil in India goes on in a similar fashion to what the strongman attitude of American politics has gone through. So there is a whole new multiracial kind of similarity there in a way if you want to juxtapose that. But I've never really not felt unsafe. I just don't know that feeling of being for a country and a constitution that value due process. is no longer something I can proudly say because there is no due process in what's happening right now. That's unfortunate.
And I think for people who might be at home tonight watching this, what is that big message that you all kind of want them to take away from this meeting today? And
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
That's right.
Simple as
As
that.
simple as that. In every level.
Yes, not only is it a Christian thing to do, it's the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That's what separates us from what we consider to be different about this country than the rest of America. If we're going to treat others the same way that people get snatched from the street in a lot of places in this world, is that what we like to compare ourselves to?
And I think with Inspector Harness, it's working. It's a process. Give it the time, give it the resources, and let it work. Let the due process happen. Let those things come out. We keep stopping it, and we have more places to put that kind of energy and resources. This works. It's working. It's going to take time. They keep telling us it's going to take time to make LMPD the most trusted, trained, transparent police department. Well, it won't get there if you keep stopping the things that are working and you keep standing in the way of things that can make it better. I really appreciate that question.
and if he's not reelected, what could this mean for the city?
Well, just want to say one thing though. We don't need Greenberg to get cold feet on Harness just because Harness disagrees with Chief Humphrey every once in a while. That is, the fact that Harness disagrees with Chief Humphrey every once in a while is actually a good thing. It just shows the system is working.
And when you say reelected, you're talking about Inspector Harness?
You mean
If he's
reappointed,
not
yeah.
reappointed
Right.
and to fulfill that, we're going to start all over with someone else in the process of trying to get this independent monitor thing worked out and still waiting to hear what's going to happen with the consent decree. The federal consent decree is that response. We still have local things that we can do, discretion that the chief has, the mayor has, that they can do. We want them to use that discretion in a way that the community has already identified with what works. Don't just say it in a press conference, show it in your actions, because that's how bad policy happens, right? They pass this with good intentions, but if you're not there to watch it play out on the ground, you can pass it, but it won't work right. And so we have things that are working, we have things that need to be worked on. Keep those things separate and be able to give the community the answer, the transparency. Because to me, that's transparency, right? To go ahead and say, my intentions are to keep Director Harness, and my intentions are to hire an independent monitor no matter what Judge Beaton says. And my intentions are to listen to the community, also take care of the officers. You're doing that part of it, but the community doesn't see the justice it deserves. And that justice comes in many forms. Ed Harness is just one piece of that. The independent monitor is another, but it's going to take years for us to get to a place to be singing Kumbaya. But we will get there if folks are intentional about it.
So right now it's just all kind of up in limbo whether you all are taking steps forward or maybe starting back from the very beginning, which is a long road to where we are now.
Especially, and it's more than 5 years, but especially, I mean, all of our lives changed 5 years ago. If it wasn't Breonna Taylor, it was COVID. So like we're all in this, it feels like the longest year ever, right? So yes, if this means that we need incremental, we need change that we can see, we need a change behavior. We need that change behavior now. Thank you. Great questions.
Are there any more questions? Well, if there are no more questions, thank you all so much for coming.
Thanks for hosting us.
Absolutely.
Through every note, every performance, the arts connect us. The arts connect us through joy and through awe, bridging cultures and generations. From intimate theaters to the grandest stages, the arts bring us together, reminding us that we're never truly alone. When we experience the arts, we experience each other. Kentucky Performing Arts. The arts connect us.
Hey y'all, I'm Attica Scott, former Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Launch Nights.
We will continue to provide updates as we have more information.
Kentucky State Representative, and you're joining me today on State Live Streams.